For the teacher, designing and managing a lesson or interactive activities is obviously more demanding, even though technology, as we have seen, can be extremely useful in minimizing time and managing structured interactions, even in large classes. But why is it so important to invest energy and time in interaction during content collection moments? To answer that, let's start with how attention works and what happens in our minds when we collect information. The most commonly accepted definition of attention among cognitive psychologists is the ability to focus on a specific stimulus, and it is fundamental to learning. However, it is also a limited capacity resource, just as the number of stimuli we can process in a given amount of time is limited. But what does it mean to be a limited capacity resource? Let's introduce two concepts that help us understand perceptual load and cognitive load. Perceptual load is the amount of information we are able to receive within a given amount of time. Once this amount is exceeded, we are no longer able to take in the information. This is why students exposed to an overly intense flow of information can perform automatic functions, like taking notes, but are unable to engage in deeper processing of the concepts. Cognitive load, on the other hand, refers to the time required for information to be processed. The more complex a piece of information is, the more time it will take to process. The perceptual load and cognitive load are governed by an inverse proportional relationship, meaning that if the information is easy to process, the speed at which it is gathered increases. If, on the other hand, the concepts are complex, it is necessary to slow down the perceptual load, thereby extending the explanation time and allowing students to gather and process the information. But is that always true? Let's try to think of a long list of data and values. These are pieces of information that are simple to process, but if they are simply listed, students will have a hard time remembering them. All the effort of memorization will be done during studying at home. Perceptual load and cognitive load, in fact, have different impacts on learning. That is, if I ask the student to make a cognitive effort, I'm more likely to initiate the learning process. Let's try to go back to the example of data and values. In this case, students can be asked, perhaps through a quiz launched in class, to indicate whether they think a value is relevant or not, or to compare data with each other, or even to try to guess whether the values have increased or decreased compared to previous years, and which variables may have contributed to that change. Let's now return to the initial question. Why is it so important to invest time and energy in interaction during content collection moments? Because by engaging students and asking them to actively work with the content being covered, you already stimulate an initial processing and manipulation of the material, which increases the chances of memorization and learning. So how can we do this? The most effective solution is to design and conduct a lesson that includes many interactive moments, even of different types. It's not necessary to plan long and complex activities. Even short activities lasting just a few minutes, spread throughout the lesson, are enough. These activities also help create breathing space between topics, establishing a rhythm that allows students to process one concept before moving on to the next, thereby reducing cognitive overload. Here are a few tips to keep in mind when designing interactive moments. 1. Make use of digital tools such as student response systems, shared whiteboards, tools for collaborative reading and interactive video viewing, or even tools for peer review, and so on. These tools help keep activities within time limits, manage tasks with large classes, and also, why not, launch activities that would otherwise be difficult to handle. Many of these tools are very easy for teachers to set up and manage, and even easier for students to use. They also allow, among other things, for real-time display of results and immediate feedback. Design activities that are integrated into the lesson. Otherwise, students will perceive them as an additional and unnecessary burden. If the activities are carried out outside the classroom, it is important to always include a follow-up moment, even a quick or asynchronous one. 3. Always provide feedback. even brief, on the activities. The feedback moment is extremely valuable. Without providing feedback, the activities risk losing their value and students may become demotivated. On the contrary, it is precisely at this moment that students are most receptive, precisely because they have put themselves out there.